Hello, and I hope you are all doing well. What about yourself, Gonzo? How are you?
I'm a bit tired, mate. I'm relaxing. A
You
laid
look
back cup of
relaxed.
tea.
You look relaxed.
Yeah. How are you, all right?
Yeah, not too bad. How's? Don't want to talk about the virus as such, but how's your life? How's?
Uh, well, we'll have a bit more of an upbeat one. We've got four kids. The kids are off school now because one of them is heavily asthmatic. And we got a lot to deal with, Geo, to be honest with you, because my wife has been getting emails and constant updates from the hospital, and they've totally changed what she's doing. So they need to take her and they need her at the hospital more. Um, which is and I've just lost a sort of 2 months worth of work as well. But understandably, people don't want me in their house, so it's tough. So I'm skint. She's going. I'm gonna have to look after the kids, or so it seems. And then we got the added pressure of her being in an environment where she's gonna be amongst sick people in the hospital, then coming back every day. So it's almost like we can't even make it safe here. But there you go. You did ask, my friend. You
I
did
did,
ask.
I did, because this is what this episode's going to be a little bit. We've got a little bit of football talk, a little bit of West Ham talk, and we've got plenty of questions from social media, and we'll be chatting to the live chat in the latter stages of the video. But we feel it's important to try and stay as normal as possible and keep delivering content. And a cup of tea, to be honest with you, it's easy content to make. It's probably actually the easier thing that you've seen this week on this channel. It's probably the easiest thing to make because we sit down, we go live with a cup of tea. That's as difficult as it gets. When there's FIFA or the tier list video or whatever, there's a little bit of editing involved and stuff. So this is actually the easiest thing to do. But it's also, I think, a lot of people are bored. A lot of people have been working from home. Some people are self-isolation already. So hopefully this gives some people the chance to watch. But this is just be aware that this is going to be a slightly different episode of Cup of Tea with Geo and Gonzo. But we're going to start with the West. Well, we'll start with the football chat first of all. The Premier League has been extended indefinitely, they say. UEFA on Tuesday announced that they wanted all domestic football wrapped up by the end of June. Today, the Premier League, well, the FA, have stated that the Premier League and the EFL are all in agreement that they're going to extend it indefinitely. Now, it's postponed until the 30th of April, so there's no football whatsoever. They're not even going to attempt to play football until the start of May. But the deadline for this season gone, extended indefinitely. Do you think that's a bit ambitious?
It is funny because we live in a. I say we live. We don't. People, you, me, and people watching this go to work, and so we don't live in a football bubble. But football lives in a football bubble, obviously, and I think for a lot of time they're almost impervious to the outside world and what goes on in it. They've got their own rules. You can do something on a football pitch, for instance. You can spit on someone or elbow someone. And I say this, and for some reason the police will let the FA deal with that. If you did that in the street, you'd be arrested, and stuff like that. So in many respects, football acts outside of the rules, outside of the law to a lesser extent, not for major things. I think also in terms of the money it generates, the money they all make, it's like a different world. And I think when they initially made the announcement that they were going to continue playing, or they were going to, look to get it finished, it was viewed with that detachment that football always has from real life, if you want. And it is it ambitious for them to do it? I mean, I can't really see any way that they're going to get this season finished or even start the next one, Gio, in all honesty. I really, unless something, and it would take something miraculous, but if we are to separate football and just go by what the government are saying and what the medics are saying, and what I know from the hospitals and things like that, I can't see any way that by the time come August that the country is going to be in a fit state to play football, even behind closed doors. I'm not entirely sure the players will want to do it, in all honesty, mate.
What do you think's priority? Getting this season finished, hypothetically, of course, getting this season finished or starting next season on time? Which do you consider? Because I don't think you can do both.
I think if you don't, we've already had most of this season, or whatever you want to call it, a lot of this season. I think if you prioritise just getting this season done and don't start next season, then you don't get next season at all. So I think you missed the whole season. Now, clearly, that would mean some tough decisions would have to be made with what goes on. Listen, maybe we could settle it, Geo. Maybe they could let us settle it on the FIFA. I was going to say the FIFA table. You know what I mean? You know, they're going to have to do something very creative. I didn't mean that, by the way. Or or it is null and void. But I do think the next season is probably more important, because when all's said and done, the players are human beings, and it was something that Mark Noble said, which I mentioned in my video yesterday. But it's not just them. I remember Lewis Hamilton, because that Australian Grand Prix almost got run, and Lewis Hamilton was walking around, didn't want to get anywhere near the journalists. He was walking around like that, and he was saying in the press conference, "I don't know what we're doing here." He didn't want to be there. No one wanted to be there, and I certainly got a vibe off a lot of the footballers that they didn't want to be going to the stadium, and I can absolutely understand that. And I've lost my train of thought now, to be perfectly honest with you. But go on. Yeah, sorry. I don't remember what I was talking about, mate. To be honest with you.
You were basically saying next season we need to start.
Okay, so yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, as much as football's important to people.
Very. You realise it now more than ever how important football is to you personally.
I was quite. I've been miserable today. I've really been miserable because of everything that I described at the start of the video, which I won't basically go into. But there's life problems going on now, you know. And you do feel that there's no distraction. And people have been talking about people's mental health. And I totally understand that. I mean, for people that are going to be isolating at home, and particularly those that are going to be on their own for 3 months, I mean, they're really going to have to... You talk about mental health, and it's not, you know, it's not always just about depression. Sometimes it's just about feeling down in the dumps and feeling lonely. And that also is mental health. We all need companionship. We all need to be with people and some interest. And actually, I think the football, or whatever your sport might be, number one, it will lift you up unless you get a drubbing. But it gives you something to get into. There's all the side stories that surround the build up to a match. And it gives you a focus, and it gives you something. You're invested in something that you know a lot about, and it can lift your spirits. And I'm not suggesting that football is the antidote to depression. I think it keeps you busy, and I think it can help. So I do think they do have a bit of a duty, and I know the government have got bigger priorities at the moment. They've got to sort the hospitals out and the logistics. I understand that, but they do have a little bit of a duty, I think, if they are going to isolate people at home, to sort of give them a little bit of entertainment and give them something to get their teeth into. So I would like to see some football resume at some point in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, for your mental health thing, I don't really suffer from any mental health that I never have done. That's why when all this stuff comes up, you know, mental health awareness week and that comes along, I stay well clear of it, because I don't really know what I'm chatting about. I've never experienced it until you walk a mile in someone else's shoes that does suffer from it. I don't think you can really judge people. You should just, in my opinion, keep your mouth shut about it if you don't know about it. But I have to say, I'm sort of worried about myself for this, because it's an escape for me, football. And when after the football, when you go into the summer, I've got my music concerts. Now Kasabian's been postponed. Liam Gallagher's almost certainly going to get postponed as well. And I feel it's almost like claustrophobic, but I'm not claustrophobic. I feel restrained now, like I'm stuck. I'm going to be stuck here. Because even we were speaking about potentially meeting up next weekend in a pub, just for a day, so we could all get out for a day. We can't even do that now, and it just thinks I'm going to be stuck here, and I'm going to be in a routine every single day for weeks, and then it's going to lead into months, and it's going to be the same routine of work. And then at the weekend I'm going to be pissing around on Netflix or probably playing FIFA with you or something. But actually doing these videos is sort of my escape now. Before it was not an escape as such, it was just something we'd done, but actually I'm looking forward to doing videos with you now, because it gives me something to look forward to, because what I used to have to look forward to has been taken away from me now, and I don't know when I'm going to have something else to look forward to. That's the uncertainty. The virus doesn't actually bother me as such. I actually think I've had it. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Gonzo knows, but I'm actually pretty convinced I've already had it. I don't know, obviously, but I'm still going about my everyday life. I'm still going to work. I'm going to work tomorrow. So nothing's really changed for me yet. The only thing that's changed for me is I can't buy anything in bloody Tesco. I can't get anything. I had Watsits and profiteroles for my dinner. I don't mind. I quite like Watsits and profiteroles, but I wouldn't have minded, an option. I wouldn't have minded a burger or something. But back to the football thing, I think getting next season up and running on time or as close to it as possible is the most important thing. This season's already been compromised for me. There's already if the season got played to finish, how are you going to do? It's going to get played behind closed doors. I cannot see fans attending games whatsoever. Even if they somehow got this done, I think it's going to be done behind closed doors. So that's already compromised the season a little bit. The fixtures and stuff have compromised. We were due to play Spurs tomorrow night, right? We were due to play Spurs. Now when we do play them, they're probably going to have Kane and Son back. Now, we're not the only club in this. Every club's going to look at their fixtures and go, hang on a minute. That team's got stronger. The form is now out the window. You start again. Everybody now starts on zero form. We were picking up form. Watford were picking up a little bit of a run. Even Bournemouth were starting to put together a few performances and stuff. I tell you, someone like Steve Booser, that would be thinking, thank God, because we were starting to drop a little bit. Now I'm glad we've got this thing here. And if they do the whole null and void thing or relegate bottom three, we're well clear of it. We're not involved in the discussion here. So there's winners and losers. And if I was a Sheffield United fan or a Wolves fan, I'd be demanding the season gets finished because they've got nothing to risk. But when you're down the bottom, you have something to risk. You risk dropping into the bottom three. You risk relegation. But when you're sitting like where Newcastle are and above, you don't really have anything to risk. If I was Newcastle, actually, I'd almost be saying, can we just avoid the rest of our games, please? Because we ain't going to go down. And I'd rather we not have our team go out there and risk picking up anything. I'd almost be saying there's no point to us finishing our season here. All we need is probably 2 wins out of the next 10 games and we're safe. So what's the point for us here? If I was an Everton fan, I'd be saying, we could get to here, but also I wouldn't be surprised if that board members or something were saying, what's the point of us finishing our season? We've got very little to gain. It's unlikely we're going to get anything. We've got nothing to lose. Tell you what we do have to lose though, health. Risk, the unnecessary risk, if you like. So I would get the next season, but the reason I think they've extended it indefinitely is because of money. I think it's purely because of cash. They're looking at it. The Athletic have done an article just before we went live, actually, so we had a little bit of a helping hand from them. The Athletic reckon the Premier League clubs would have to hand back 762 million if the season got voided today. Obviously, Sky, BT would be saying, well, hang on a minute, we need our cash back here. We paid for that much games. We're only 75% into the season, though. So it's 25%, essentially. They're wanting 25% of their money back. They're saying, hang on a minute. And this is the good bit of the season as well. May, April is where stuff gets decided. January, November, when it's a bit cold and it's draws and there's not much playing for, that's the boring part. This is the good part of the season we're missing out on. We want our money back. Clubs have already spent it. Clubs have spent it. They look at it, they go, okay, we're getting this much from TV for the next season. They spend it in the summer before the season happens. That's when they spend their TV money because they know that they've got the cash flow coming. So now the cash flow is interrupted. The consequences financially are just ridiculous if this season does not get completed. And that's specifically about West Ham, the Premier League, without even thinking about the lower league teams not having gate revenues and stuff. I think it's a cash decision, Gonzo. I just think they're looking at it and I think they've got a bit of pressure. Sky Sports, all you have to do is go on social media right now. You can see everyone kicking off. I want to cancel my Sky Sports. Yeah. Understandably, there's nothing on telly. Why would you want to pay £20 a month? Tip, if you go online on your Sky account right now, you can pause Sky Sports so you don't actually pay for your Sky Sports package now. So you don't cancel it. You can just pause it until the football comes back. But I think it's money, Gonzo. I think it's all about...
Well, cash. They've got creative solutions that they can have there. So, for instance, they sign these TV deals over 3 years. So necessarily they don't have to give the money back. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure they can say, do you know what? We're going to extend our deal by a year. It was a 3-year deal. We're going to do a 4-year deal, pro rata. Over the same sort of money, and then we'll rebate you for that comes off the next year what you feel you've lost. So I think that's still, with the money side of it, I struggle. I doubt there's a football owner in the whole of the Premier League that is not worth in excess of 100 million or something like that, and that's That's just the ownership. The players, I'm talking about Premier League here. I mean, lower down the tier, I sort of went into it yesterday. I think there's major problems. I would doubt that there's a Premier League player on less than 30 grand a week. I doubt there's.
Martin.
Sorry?
David Martin.
David Martin may well be, but David Martin is still probably on at least 10 or 20 grand a week. He probably earns in a week what some people earn in a year. And so, to a certain extent, footballers are slightly insulated from this. So I hope they don't make a money decision. As I say, I've just lost 2 months worth of work. My mate down the road, as he runs a little cafe at the edge of the park. There's nobody going in there. You know, he said to me today, I don't know how we're gonna survive. You talk about, funny enough, you talk about a vicious circle. Dave, I don't know about Sky. I've just had to cancel my checker trade, which is what brings my work in. The thing is, if I cancel the checker trade for more than 3 months, I lose every bit of feedback and everything I've ever done. So I'd literally be starting from scratch. These are big decisions. So I like to feel football hasn't got those real world decisions. And listen, my story is by no means I think a particularly bad one. You know, there'll be people watching this who are serious, who are worried. Not only they're concerned that they're going to get the virus, but they're really concerned about how they're going to cope economically and the mental health. We discussed people are genuinely worried. They still haven't announced anything for self-employed, which counts me. They've announced a lot of things. I'm still waiting. I'm a self-employed renter. I'm still not been, I'm on a secure tenancy. I'm social housing here, but I'm still. So are we likely to get kicked out? No, but you've got all these massive things. I like to think that football is not going to make a money decision. They've got a real opportunity because they're wealthy. They can lead the way, and they can show everyone how it's done. I wouldn't put any pressure on any players that don't want to play, but I would ask. I would almost ask the players if anybody is willing to be put into almost, a week or two's quarantine. So they knew that everybody and the referee and everything, and they knew that people were fit. And even if it was involved some youth players and some senior players, and just get something out there, if they could just get, some teams and give us something to get our teeth into and give us something to follow. And you know what? The longer this goes on, the less important actually the football and the Premier League becomes. Quite frankly, if I thought there was some end to it, and actually, the start of next season, if we were in a championship, we'd all get to, there'd be a vaccine, everyone would be fit, and we all get to go back to stadium, the boats. We're in the championship, but don't worry. I'd almost take that at the moment just to get the routine of the football back, just to get something to get behind it. It's amazing how you get bewitched and bedazzled by the Premier League. It ain't the be all and end all. It's not the Premier League that we miss. It's just watching our team and everything around it. And it's crazy. It's crazy, really, mate. Never thought we'd be doing, a cup of tea talking about this. That's for sure.
Live chat. We'll start taking your questions in a bit. The only West Ham piece really is that there's a few transfer rumours, but I'm not going to bother going into them because it's just journalists needing to put something online, isn't it? And we're being linked with some players that we've been linked with before. It's all a bit blur. But the West Ham piece of news is that Thomas Soucek is being lined up as a potential captain. What do you think of that?
Well, I wasn't sure whether I could believe it or not because of what you said, because it looks like people are scraping around for news, and I'm not critical of anyone on that sense. Crikey, Geo, we're playing FIFA and putting those videos up because we're thinking, what can we talk about?
That was quite a good video, to be fair.
Oh, but it was good. Bit of quality there, mate, and I enjoyed it. And it was, you know what, it was fun, and it was a bit of light relief, and we've got plenty more of that to come, of course. I'm not so sure. Firstly, I don't know how good his English is, which I'd imagine that would be a factor. His English might be very good. I'm not suggesting Sebastian Haller's captain material, but I know Haller's English is very, very good, and certainly better than my French anyway. And so I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they can be sure because of the uncertainty whether contractually we are actually going to sign him on a permanent deal. Whether, as you alluded to, if everybody loses all this money, if they do have to pay it back, are we going to even have the money to make the deal permanent? I would think possibly not. And I think you'll be seeing a lot of players getting released anyway because of this. And, as I mentioned yesterday, I just think we're going to be releasing players. I think we're going to be promoting people from the youth, and when the lower clubs go bust, and I would expect in excess of 10 lower league clubs to go bust, there's going to be, the bigger clubs are going to be like vultures taking some of their best players. And I don't know, but you'd look at somebody like Brent. Actually, perhaps Brentford's not a great idea, a great example, because I think their owners,
Barnet are struggling already.
Yeah, I mean, so you may well find that some of those players are at West Ham and clubs like that, and actually, as I mentioned yesterday, the final payment for Sebastian Haller doesn't happen. We can't make the Soucek thing permanent. Maybe we can only make one payment for Jared Bowen, and actually, he reverts back and goes back to Hull. You just don't know what's going to happen. So it's so up in the air. We can't even talk about Soucek being captain in that sense. I don't know. I don't even know if he'd be a good choice or not, Geo.
This is a poor way of a poor usage of the word positive. I have to use it for the sentence, but take into context here. The only positive is every club's in the same financial predicament as of now. It's not like it's only affecting Premier League clubs. It's affecting every club worldwide, never mind just in Europe. So while West Ham are struggling to pay Haller's fee, I bet you Frankfurt are bought a player they're struggling to pay.
Sure,
that club will be struggling to pay their pay. So there's a domino effect. It's almost like everybody needs a bit of 50% off this year kind of thing. That's why when I did the thing with Charlie Ray, I was saying in that, I think there's a real opportunity this summer for an owner to get their great big wad of cash out, because this market's going to be cheap. This is going to be the cheapest summer we've had in Premier League in a long time. I think if someone wants to throw a load of money at it, I think they'll pick up some players half price. It's almost like a half price sale. One summer only, everyone's half price, because everyone's going to be desperate for cash. It's not just selling players, it's actual cash flow now that I think clubs are going to be struggling with. The EFL, though, to their credit, have already said that there's a load of money sitting there to bail out clubs, and they're going to help clubs out and stuff. So I think they've created a great big money pit. I can't remember how much it is. It's something like 330 million or something. It's a lot of money that they've got that's going to, I think they're lending it rather than giving it to them, but they're going to make sure that clubs just don't go under type thing. I think they'll be okay. But also, this is where I think the EFL has a slight advantage lower down. I think because we saw the National League go ahead last weekend, I think maybe League 2, they can probably let the fans in earlier than they can at the Premier League, because there's so few of them. A couple of thousand people there is a lot different to 60,000 people turning up. So I think that's when that's why I don't want to say test the crowd, but I think that's how they'll do it. They'll let the League 2 ones in first and say, right, let's see how this gets on, because they need the funds lower down. The Premier League can get away with that a little bit. Apart from that, though, there's not really any news. So you ready for some questions?
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to come up with today, I tell you.
Yeah, some questions. Now, for people, because you made it halfway through the cup of tea, we're going to treat you. Below, I put a link to the Patreon podcast. It's episode 1. It's a pilot show, but just to give you a little example of what you can get as a patron, the link's there. You can only get it if you're watching this video, because we're not posting it on social media. We're not posting anywhere. You can only get it because I've told you about it. So it's there, and you're only getting this one episode. It's for patrons. By the way, have a link. It's how long is it? You listened to? I didn't listen to. I was in it. Was it 45 minutes or something?
It's an hour, just under an hour.
It was an hour-long podcast for you. Have a little click. Have a little listen. Anyway, Gonzo, questions from Twitter. Tommy Gun 86. Tommy says, "What's the most cringe moment you've seen at the football in the last few months?" He's been naughty.
Cringe moment?
Yes.
Do you know what do you think you know what he means? Do you know what he's alluded to?
I know what he's alluded to. I know.
I don't know. What's he alluded to? Unless it involves me and something embarrassing, in which case don't mention it.
No, it's not you. I mean, I'll tell you later. He's been naughty.
Oh, I know what he's saying. I'm sorry. Tom, you can't do private jokes on the anyway, there we go.
I should have researched these. I just clicked on them and scrolling down them just now, and it's there at the top. I should have. He's caught me out there a little bit. We'll skip that one. Becky says, which current squad member would you choose be put into quarantine with? Maybe this is how we avoid getting a refund on our season tickets. Maybe we all get 1 hour in a room at the London Stadium with a player of our choice. You avoid your refund.
Can I get Pedro Obiang back?
Possibly. Why do you want him back?
Just a nice guy, chilled out, funny, nice guy.
So none of our current team are nice or chilled out.
Actually, Antonio's really nice guy as well. And Jack Wilshere seems quite a fun lad as well.
If you're into tumble dryers.
Sorry, being a tumble dryer, getting escorts, smoking shisha pipes and all that. I'm not suggesting. Sorry, Jack. I'm not suggesting he does. He looks like a bit of a party boy in his past, doesn't he? In the swimming pool. I haven't got a swimming pool. Got a little muddy puddle outside the man cave where it's been raining a bit. But yeah, one of those three, I think.
I think Snodgrass for me. I think he's Mr. Banter, isn't he?
Yeah.
When I watched when he's with Scotland, when I watch the videos that they put up, he's often the one they go to as well. Him and Andy Robertson have got a bit of a bromance, or did before Robertson retired.
Finished with him.
Snodgrass retired, sorry. They had a bit of a pardon.
I finished. I didn't know what happened, so I just filled in the blank. Finished with him. Cheated on him. They had a bit of a bromance before he cheated on him with Tierney.
That's correct. So yeah, they had a bit of a romance. So Snodgrass, I think he's Mr. Banter, so I'd have him. Dilton, now this is a good question. Time for some positivity. It's not.
Come on, Dilton, let's have it.
It's not. Well, you better be careful with Dilton.
Hey, Dilton knows what I'm talking about the escorts, don't you, Dilton? No more.
But here, a bit of good news. It's not about West Ham, it's about you.
Oh.
But you met your brother. I told the I told the YouTube people in my video last Saturday that you weren't on with me because you were meeting your brother for the first time in 20 years. So how did that go?
That was absolutely magnificent. For those that don't know, I waited and put a message out on Twitter to see if anybody knew him. The bizarre thing was somebody that actually watches our podcasts and watches Hammers Chat messaged me and said, it's all up on Twitter for anyone to see. I know your brother. He basically said, it was Paul messaged me, he said, I know your brother. He works with my brother. So he worked with Paul's brother. So Johnny, who was Paul's brother, phoned up my brother, if you're following it, who I'd not seen for 20 years and 22 years, and said, there's some geezer reckons he's your brother. He said, but the weird thing is, he's somebody that I watch on Hammers Chat and all the rest of it, and said to my brother, his name's Gonzo, big no. So my brother say, nah, that's not right. No. So, no, it's Chris. It's definitely, no. And they said, oh, yeah, no, it's Chris. So anyway, that was absolutely astounding. Twitter found him within 3 hours. He came over last Saturday with my nephew Sam, his son. I've not seen Sam since he was 6. He's 28 now. And we had a lovely time. It was absolutely magnificent. And the bizarre thing is, Geo, that Johnny had dropped him off to his house a week before I contacted him, and after, or whatever, something like that. I think the story is something like that. And what they realised was he'd been dropping my brother off and then going and listening to us, and listening to Hammers Chat, listening to a cup of tea.
Mental.
Funny, isn't it?
Small world.
Crazy. Dilton, thank you, my friend. It's lovely, mate. It's lovely. Thank you.
Ryan, in Skip, you're stuck in quarantine for 4 weeks, and the only thing you can watch over and over again is a rerun of one West Ham game. What game do you choose?
I would like to see the last game at Upton Park because I didn't really see it. Because I was there, and it was absolutely crazy, and I was trying to get loads of footage, which I got.
Whoa! Don't just spoil it. We'll do like a last day at Upton Park video at some point, possibly, because we need content, don't we? So because we never really told our accounts yet, because we different. We intertwined at one point, but then we had different days, and people don't really know what we've done and stuff. So
okay, yeah, okay. Well, anyway, so for whatever reason, I saw the game, but I didn't. Did I watch it in the same way that I would normally watch a game? No, I soaked up the atmosphere. I can't. So I'd watch it again to actually really see what happens rather than just the highlights, which is all I sort of remember. Really, I like to see every kick and the ebb and the flow of the game. You know.
I was half tempted to say that one because I can't remember it much either. To be honest, for different reasons than Gonzo. But see, my favourite one is the win against Ipswich in playoff semi-final. But I think that's because of the atmosphere rather than because of what I saw. So in terms of watching one, I don't know, the 5-4 win over Bradford, I guess. I think that one, just because it's entertaining. But to be fair, the West Ham Twitter account earlier was tweeting about the 3-2 win against Spurs a couple of years ago in the League Cup. You know, when we went 2-0 down, took it back to it. I wouldn't mind watching that.
Was that Wembley, that one?
Yeah, that was at Wembley. The game that we won, and Sullivan went to Sullivan at full time. He looked furious because obviously he was probably planning on sacking Slav, and he's gone and beat Spurs at Wembley.
That's right.
In the quarter final of the cup, to get into the quarter final of the cup, there's no way you can sack him now. So you're sitting there like. Anyway, Emily says, do you think we will be expected to pay towards the next season ticket renewal, considering we haven't yet finished this season?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a tough one. I can only guess. I mean, they've got a massive PR issue there with doing that. Really, how can they sell something that they're not even sure is going to start yet?
It's like that Netflix. What was that Netflix series? The music festival. What was that one called? No. What was the Netflix? Did you watch it? You must have done.
No,
it's a film. It's a film. A guy. Oh, it's fantastic. The guy, he makes up a music festival on an island, and he sells all these tickets to it. Right. So it's happening in a year's time or something, and he gets a couple of really experienced people in that knows what they're doing. And he's selling all these luxury packets. He buys influencers and they promote it, and they fly over, get their shots, all these models on the beach and stuff, saying, oh yeah, come on over, you can buy like a villa for the weekend and stuff. And he sells it all, then he has no money left. So like, the festival's got to go ahead, there's no money. All he can afford is like water. But people still turn up. There's no music festival, there's nowhere for them to stay. I can't remember what it was called, but this guy had it right off. So he lived like a celebrity for years, taking private jets around the world, organising this music festival. But then when it come to paying for the music festival, he'd spent it all. Fire Festival, Canning Town Lions put in a live chat. Fire Festival, Fire with a Y Festival. It's a brilliant watch. Go watch it.
Is it? I mean, because to be fair, people said that. What's that thing, that Aaron Hernandez documentary? Oh, crikey. Well, I'm old rubbish. Everyone's got a bit documentary. I like a documentary, but it's almost like Netflix have invented the documentary. And everyone's like, oh, that's brilliant.
I've not bothered with it.
It's
I
rubbish.
watched about 10 minutes. I thought, nah. I'm very judgmental. But what was the question?
It was about
just paying for your tickets.
It was about getting a discount off the season ticket. I don't know. Listen, should we get a discount? Yes. Should we be refunded in some way? Yes, something like that will happen, but I'm not sure how they can incorporate anything with next season, bearing in mind we don't even know if it's going to happen. I actually think, like a couple of days ago, I actually think the Premier League actually thought that they might be able to do something, and I just think with every passing day, the Premier League chairman, who didn't even meet, and I don't blame him, did it all by conference call, and now I'm starting to realise, hold on a second, there may be no football for a little while, and for all the reasons I discussed earlier. So I don't know what they're going to do with money. I think we're all due a refund, but we might all have to take it on the chin for the benefit of the club, and that is going to seem a bit sickening, and it might sound ridiculous, bearing in mind the guy that owns West Ham is worth over £1 billion. He should really foot the bill on that, because it's his responsibility. But don't be surprised if we're all asked to take the pinch a little bit, as silly as it sounds. I cannot see some big benevolent gesture coming from the club to help us all out. I can't. I'm not even sure they'll be able to afford to do it, because he's not going to want to plough his own money in. They're going to want the club to stay there. And the club is kept separate. You know what all these owners do? They keep everything as an arm's length management organisation. So they set up a separate company. It's like when Upton Park got sold. It wasn't just Upton Park sold by West. It became whatever, Phoenix Bowling, Phoenix Enterprises, or whatever. And this company crops up and they sell it. And this is what happens. And it's so as if anything goes wrong, then it doesn't excuse me, eat into the riches of the owners. So it just has to be profitable. It has to pay for itself, and if the club's going to pay for itself and it's getting no money in from Sky and no money in from BT, then quite frankly we may well find that we're not getting a huge rebate, and we may well find that we're being stung for next season's season tickets without even knowing that the season's going to start yet, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I can't see us getting a refund, and to be honest with you, I've already given it up in my head. I'm not even sure I want it back. Do you know this is all you can get your £75 or £100 or whatever it is? I'm not even sure if I would take it because, like you said, I think the club actually need it now. And it sounds mental that we're going to have to financially uphold. But do you know something? This might be what some Premier League clubs, but this might be what West Ham need because for we've heard now and again, they don't need the fans because your money. We don't need your money anymore. We've got the TV. Well, actually, now do you need our money? Yes, you do. So maybe this is actually where they get a bit of a kick up the arse, and someone at that club's bound to be thinking, looking at each other, thinking, this fan base don't like us, and we need them to do us a favour here, because other clubs, Leicester, I bet if Leicester said to their fans today, listen guys, cash flow's a bit tight here, we need you to basically waive any refund and even buy half your season ticket for next season, I bet you Leicester fans go, no problem, here's where they pay, right? Our lot could never do that because they would get laughed at and get told to piss off and whatnot. But if you're a good club and you treat your fans well, this is where you can call in your good customer service. But well, here you go. There's your reminder. You still need the fans' money. You might be able to give it the big one 9 seasons out of 10, but just remember there's always going to be that 10% chance.
I've got to say, Gio, I don't think they've helped themselves in a way that the club, particularly the media aspects of the club, have acted towards the fan channels and the fan websites in the past year or two either. I think that's going to really hinder them at this time. And listen, we're not trying to make hay out of it. We're not doing loads of negative videos at the moment about the club and this, that, and the other. We're not. We're just trying to get videos out and keep ourselves busy and put something up for people to watch. Do you know what I mean? But I certainly feel at a time like this, when things are tough, then actually, I'm not. There could have been a lot more collaborations with the club, with websites, with YouTube channels. We could have an awful lot more going on if we all put our heads together. But we're separate in terms of the club and the fans, and then all the fans' websites. We're separate like no other club. There is a massive divide between the. It's them and us, which is a massive problem for them.
People in the live chat, get your questions in because I'm conscious of the time here. We're in a bit of a tight schedule, because believe it or not.
Oh crikey! Hold on. Sorry, don't worry. Hold on, wait there.
I don't know what he's doing. I do not know what he's doing. This is not part of the show.
Oh, crikey.
What's he done?
What did you say?
I said this is not part of the show. I'm telling the viewers. I don't know what you're doing.
Oh mate, it's all right. It was about, the laptop was about to go off. I plugged it in, but I hadn't switched it on, if you know what I mean. But it's fine. It's good.
I hate when that happens. But yeah, so we've got another 15 minutes or so, but then we actually need to go record a bit of a video, which is going to go up Saturday night, I think, on the tomorrow morning. It's going up tomorrow on the forum channel. So we've got a lot of questions. We're going to have to skip on Twitter and YouTube, but we'll keep them. We need content, so I can show you. I'm keeping them questions for another video. Ray says, what do you think will happen with transfers next season? Do you think they will keep it all year round?
Oh, that's a really good point, right?
No.
All right, sorry.
No, I don't think they will, because the transfer window's July and August, right? I think they've voted now to bump it back to the 31st of August, because they tried this first game of the season thing and they didn't like it, so they voted to change it around again, right? And I think it'll still be 2 months. I think it might be mid-July till mid-September, but I think they'll still give you 2 months. I don't want it to be all year, because then teams will benefit. Teams with financial muscle will benefit. We'll go back to why we introduced the transfer window in the first place, which was to stop big teams from getting to the end of the season and thinking, all right, we'll just buy a couple of players to get ourselves out of trouble or into the title race or whatever. So I don't want it to change. They might have to move the dates slightly, but that's it for me.
I think there's going to be activity, and there's going to be lots of activity, and whether that means that it's extended into another transfer, and I don't know. I don't think it matters, even if you have an open season all season or just a restricted transfer window. I think there's going to be an awful lot of activity, and what it's going to do, you're absolutely right, Joe, what you said earlier, there's an opportunity for people with money. There's also an opportunity for people who have some capacity for abstract thinking. So people can be a little bit creative with their thinking, with their planning, with their business. If they're on their toes, then there are opportunities to be had in this. And I don't mean to be ruthless and unscrupulous and take advantage of people when they're down, kick someone when they're down and stuff like that. But for all sorts of different reasons, there's going to be a lot of player movement. And I think if you're clever, if you're smart, and you can probably get your house in order quite quickly and quite well. And if people are going to be, it's going to be a race from the start, and some people are going to be slow out the blocks, and some people are going to be fast out the blocks, and some people are going to be creative. It's an opportunity. We'll certainly find out.
Alan Turkington says, "What's your Hammers legends and peasant players who make up a rugby 15?" Crikey, that's a long answer for you.
Yeah.
Antonio. I don't even like rugby, but I'm putting Antonio forward.
Well, you say you're putting Antonio forward. Antonio may well be a forward. You might have to put Antonio as a prop or something like that. You certainly want
forward. Forward isn't a nomination.
Oh well, but I think he'd have to be a forward, although he'd make quite a winger. But footballers by their very nature are not as chunky as rugby players, certainly. So you would be looking for the big bruisers. So you'd have Andy Carroll, to make up your pack. And you might have your taller players, your Sebastian Haller in the back row, for stuff like that. It's it'd be you still need your quick players on the wing and all that sort of thing. I certainly don't think you'd be getting your Felipe Anderson in any rugby team, put it that way. And so you want, I'm pretty sure Billy Bonds would be as a centre, maybe Billy Bonds at centre. Inside centre, maybe 13, something like that. It'd be interesting. I'll tell you somebody, but you need the ability to be able to catch and throw the balls. We probably would be no place for Roberto in the team.
Jazza says, "What's your favourite pair of shoes you own?" You've got a nice pair of Crocs. Purple.
I have got a pair of. I can't wear the Crocs anymore because of my foot.
Wait, you actually got a pair of Crocs? I was just joking.
I have got a pair of Crocs.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I got them when I was down in Devon.
I hope it was a gift.
For the beach. No, I bought them, but they're not all rubber. The top part has a leatherette on it. It's almost a suede. It's like a suede Croc. Anyway, I can't wear them because my foot. I can't wear flat-footed footwear anymore. Best pair. I don't own a best pair of shoes really. I'm a terrible taste in footwear, and that's it really. I have terrible footwear. I can't claim to have a nice pair of shoes. Sorry.
I'm not very fussy. I've got my Chelsea boots. I like them, and then when it comes to trainers, it's always white trainers. I don't know why. I've always had white trainers. Just like white trainers. So they're down there at the minute. Actually, my trainers, they're a bit dirty. They're not really white at the minute. White with a tint of tan on the front of them. But my
Scottish. They call it Scottish white.
Yeah, we'll go with that. But my Chelsea boots are my favourite ones. My dancing shoes. Put them on and bang. Where's the dance floor? I'm ready to move. Forever blowing bubbles. Which West Ham season in the Premier League would get your highest rating?
In the Premier League. Just that. I was just about to regale you with stories of Cottee and McAvenny and almost winning the league but if it's Premier League, okay, I can't remember what one. There was one under Harry where we did all right. There was one under Harry where we seemed to do really well. I can't even remember what year it was. So it'd be that one or last one. Upton Park was good because going into Swansea, we had a chance of Champions League. I think the one under Harry was better because no one cared about Champions League. We seem to have just a decent chance and a decent team. And recently in Premier League terms, it's about top four. Top four's become something you wish to achieve. So that's quite weird. But that's where we are now. And still annoys me how we capitulated against Swansea. Actually, in that one, they knocked 4 past us, didn't they? I think.
Yeah.
And up to that point, it was only 3 games left or something at that point. We could won all our rest of the ones. We'd have been the Champions League. Ridiculous. So, but a good season, really good season.
I think I think up to I've got two. See, I'm too young to remember everything about that high Vennaps era. I'm too. I don't like. I've almost got like a highlights reel in my head, and that's it. I couldn't tell you enough about it. But like the Alan Pardew season when we got to FA Cup finals up there for me, just because of the way we played football and the fact that we went for the FA Cup, but it would be the last season at Upton Park for me was by far my favourite. I turned up every week thinking we were going to win. We could be 2-0 down at half time and I'd be like, it's alright, we'll score 3 in the second half. I don't ever remember having that feeling with West Ham. But plus we had Dimitri Payet, who was genuinely playing world class at the time. You could, when he was linked to Real Madrid and stuff, you were genuinely thinking, no, I hope they don't come in for him for 60-70 million because they're going to get him. But he was just, that one individual season was unbelievable. If you go back and take your Premier League over the Premier League era and you think you had to pick out players, but not what they've done in Premier League, for what they've done in our season. So if you have like Drogba, you have to specify which season of Drogba you are having. Dimitri Payet 2015-16 would be in with an extremely reasonable shout of making the 11. He would be up against Giggs and whatnot, but I do think his individual season that season was just ridiculous.
Best player we've had in a very, very long time, Gio. A very long time. Unfortunately, you get the snake thing on the way left, and it skews people. People are so angry about it, and it wasn't great that if you pick him, people often say you have to discount him because of how he treated West Ham, and but I mean in terms of sheer talent, better than Tevez, and as good as talented as a player as we've had. I think since John Lyle's team, certainly. So brilliant player.
Lee 76 says, "What's your number one worst Premier League season?" Savin Grant one for me. It was just.
Oh, it wasn't that? Yeah, I mean, the Glen Roeder one was bad. It was made doubly worse, and I don't like to go in hard on Roeder because. I would say he got a brain tumour during that season, and I thought the way I hated all the tumour boy and all. I hated it. He was a useless manager, by the way. But I remember the cameras being there and his 2 young daughters. He had 2 young daughters coming out of his house, and it was really bad. I hated the way. Not everyone, lots of people sympathetic, but. I also remember there was almost like an old pals act between Sam Allardyce and Peter Reid and people like that. It was a lot of the old and they were the old traditional mob. And I remember at press conferences and stuff like that, thinking they were asked to give their opinions, and I don't think they were very gracious about him. And I didn't like the whole thing that surrounded it. But Trevor Brooking came in, and Trevor Brooking showed within that time, and it was because we had a terrible season, but Trevor Brooking came in and Trevor Brooking showed what a fantastic manager he could have been, and he came in, almost kept us up, rejuvenated the team to such an extent. If Brooking had come in a couple of games before, we would have been safe. And it always left me wondering what would have happened had we have started 2 seasons before that with Trevor Brooking in charge. If Trevor Brooking had a couple of years, I think we could have actually done great things, and I think a lot of players wouldn't have left and over the course of time. But
yeah, to be fair, I think that's a better shout than my one. I think we went down with a ridiculously talented squad, whereas Avram Grant one, the squad was a bit. I know we had Parker in there, but apart from him, the squad was a bit bland. But do you know one of my worst seasons though was that one under Kirbishley when we finished 10th and we just didn't do anything. It's just boring. Every week was just boring. I didn't enjoy the football. We didn't go up or down in the league. I felt like I swear we were 10 from match day 10 to match day 38. We might have went 9th or 11th, but we just stayed 10th. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. It was just dour. I hated that season. So in terms of a season I hated that we weren't relegated, because that's got to be by default one of the seasons. It was that one for me. I got fed up. And I know that we had the Aldice years and stuff, but at least there was, I don't know, there's something there, regardless of what it was, whether it was avoiding relegation or something. That's why sometimes people always say they'd rather, as a football fan, they'd rather their team was trying to avoid relegation than just sitting mid-table for the whole year, because at least you've got something, you've got some sort of like something to play for, you've got a little bit of passion or something. But under Kirby, I could have slept the whole season.
Well, particularly as he actually had a bit of money to spend at the time as well, and a way to Ljungberg, he used to be good. I'll have him. I don't know if it was him that bought Dyer. I'll have him. He used to be good. I think the Nobby Solano worked out. I thought Solano was actually all right, but it did sort of lack that bit. I'm not sure if he brought Bowyer in, but it did seem to be a policy of bringing in players who used to be all right and expecting them to be.
Well, Thomas Longagan says the word I'm looking for is bleh. I mean, I think that sums it up perfectly. That is the word I'm looking for.
How did he spell that?
B-L-E-H. Well, I don't know why I'm saying it in lowercase. B-L-E-A-H. Why am I speaking in lowercase? I think it's because you pronounce bleh, b. So I started with b and then continue from there and then b. Bleach. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. Bleh, bleh, bleh. Charlie says, if you could ride about on one animal, what would you be?
If I could ride on one animal?
Yeah, ride about on him. It's like mode of transport, like a camel.
A camel?
Yeah, like a camel. You ride about on a camel, don't you?
Well, it'd have to be a sea ant. It would have to be an orca. It would have to be a killer whale.
Why? I think you'd drown.
Well, I can hold my breath quite well.
I think you would drown. Charlie did not say you could wear any sort of scuba equipment or you could breathe underwater. That you're not going to all of a sudden.
I can breathe underwater.
But you're not. Yeah, I mean, not for that long. You've not got gills or anything. So.
Behind my ears, I do have gills. Yeah.
Oh, so you've got gills and a dodgy foot.
I've got the gills to pay the bills, Geo.
Well, at the start of the show, you were saying you might not pay the bills.
Skin. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, maybe I don't have gills. Maybe I just will go on a badger or something then.
Maybe you could do a crocodile because of your preferred shoes.
Absolutely. Okay. I've got some snake skin shit. No, I haven't really.
Or your leopard print thong.
I've got. Well, you know this. We know it. Everyone knows this. Yeah, leopard. I would ride upon a leopard.
Ride on the back of a leopard. Let's just. There's no animal rights being violated here.
How long I was in isolation for?
There is no animal rights being violated on this show. Vegans, vegetarians, you're more than welcome.
I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to eat the leopard.
Well, that's good because we don't know what virus would come if you ate a leopard.
That is very true. we have come full circle.
We have. I think I would pick a tiger on the assumption it wouldn't maul me. But
have you ever seen a tiger? You ever seen a tiger?
Yeah, captured in what they call zoos. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think they are. I don't like zoos. Held against will. Would you go sit in jail and let tigers walk up and down, looking in, having a little look at you? No, you wouldn't. So why do we feel it's all right to do it to them?
Wouldn't have a choice if I was in jail. Wouldn't have a choice. The tigers are just looking whatever. What always surprised me, I can't remember what zoo I was in, but I had the lions and the tigers. And obviously, my only experience was watching them on telly. I'd always assumed a lion was about the same size as a tiger. I couldn't believe how big the tiger was. Massive.
Well, they're all different sizes, aren't they? You can get big tigers, you can get big lions.
Well, no, even a big lion's nowhere near as big as a tiger. Tigers are massive, absolutely massive. Lion,
No, I don't know. I think tigers are longer.
No, tigers are significantly bigger. I think they weigh more. Yeah.
Lions are. I think lions are bulkier, but I think
tigers. No, I'm not sure. Lions are mostly fur. They're really scared. That's like a little chihuahua. If you take all the mane of the lion, we basically got a chihuahua.
Crikey almighty. Right, well, we'll start wrapping up there. We've gone completely off circuit there, haven't we? There's one more question if you want it. Do you want the last question?
Yeah, that's a question.
It's from someone, it's an unnamed contributor. Says,
does it say unnamed? Does it say anonymous?
No, I'm just not revealing their name because I'll give away. It might prepare you for the question.
Oh, have they got in their little avatar, their little icon? Have they got a mask on, some mysterious stuff going on.
No, there's none of that. I mean, the people in the live chat know exactly what I'm way to go to. It's just you that doesn't know. Says, do I have permission to post a video of Gonzo's butt on Twitter?
It's one of our patrons. Right?
No. They haven't seen your butt. It was in between the tier list videos we've done. We've done 2 tier lists, and in the middle you moon Charlie.
Yeah, no, Charlie, you're not. No, you're definitely not.
What patrons have you been sending pictures of your butt to?
I thought I'd flash my arse. I thought I'd flash my arse in a patrons video.
That must be the top tier.
If that don't get more people to sign up, I don't know what will.
Just say we've lost a patron now.
It's down by 10. Don't go on skin. I just thought I'd flash my arse. I thought I'd flash my arse at somebody. Quite frankly, I used to be famous for it. I used to get in trouble at school.
Famous for butts?
Well, at school, I used to, whenever we go on a coach, I'd always pull my trousers down and moon at the traffic and stuff like that.
All right.
Yeah,
G-Lo, that's your new name.
Chuck myself having is quite as shapely and attractive as J-Lo's. I'm quite sure. Mostly hairy, white and spotty, I'd imagine. It depends what sort of definition or resolution that Charlie has screenshotted my arse in. But I don't know. He's had the screenshot for 3 or 4 days, so he's clearly been enjoying himself with it.
Yeah, he's obviously happy with it. Anyway, we will start wrapping that up there. We'll do another show. We've got some questions left over. There are some quite good ones as well. I like these questions. But if you have any more questions for the next video, put them in the comments here and we'll do a video. So I reckon we've got about a 10-15 minute video out of the comments left over, so we can make it 20-25 minutes.
It's another video. We've got to do plenty of content, mate. Plenty of content for everyone, for us, for all sorts. Lots of comments, lots of tears. I don't mean crying tears, I mean tier system videos. You might have some tears. Lots of FIFA, lots of tomfoolery, lots of questions, with lots and lots of stuff, and then maybe we can make up some transfer rumours for one video or something.
I think we should do that, actually. That might be a good video. We just make stuff up.
But I think we need to have a backstory with it.
Yeah, we can do.
You can't just say. We almost got to make it realistic, Geo.
Okay, so we're after Jamal Lewis to fill our void at left back.
That sort of thing, and then what I want to hear is how you know. Pretend we're not in these silly times. How you know we're after him, and then because where you saw him, and then I want a reason behind it, like his dad used to work at Ford in Dagenham.
Okay.
So he used secretly, not secretly, but when his dad used to take him. And they used to duck under the turnstiles at Upton Park, and he was brought up for it. And then Norwich Academy sort of picked him up and moved up to the to East Anglia. So, something like we got. I think a little. We talk enough rubbish anyway. We might as well just make a load of stuff up.
Interesting. Okay, so coming up next week, coming up in the next couple of nights, you've got the midfielders and strikers. Would we sell or would we keep tier list video? That's coming up. Another FIFA video, that's coming up. Tomorrow on the forum channel, link is in the description. We've got our next Premier League review team, which is Manchester City. We're way to record that now. We have a look at City's season and a few questions. Basically, it's going to be like the Liverpool one, but with Man City instead.
Yeah, I've still not figured out which one of their players. Remember Liverpool, you said which player can you realistically take? I'm still struggling with that for Man City. We can realistically buy for Man City anyway.
And we've got another series coming up next week. There's a video. Wait, hang on. I might as well ask you now. Are you free on Saturday? Anytime Saturday?
Well, yeah, I will clearly be free at some point on Saturday. Yeah,
I've got a video we're doing on Saturday. So we're gonna have a live stream on Saturday. What I'm not saying, it's a secret. Even Gonzo doesn't know yet. So
nothing to do with arses. Or tigers.
Depends on the patrons. If they demand it, we'll sell ourselves. Let's make that pretty much clear. But anyway, right, thank you for joining us on this cup of tea. It's been a bit random, but I'm afraid it's going to be random between now until football comes back. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new around here, and we will catch you very, very soon.